So as we take a look at this graphic, thank you, Rico. I'm glad your Knicks are going to be okay. I like it like that, Rico. You can make
you
us
can
small.
You can leave it big, Rico. Thank you.
So I sent you these tiers.
Yeah.
And I thought this was interesting because not only did I not agree with it, but it also is kind of the catalyst for this discussion point that we're having for.
Yeah. I don't even think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, well, where would you like to stay? Such strong opinions, Ravi.
Well, I mean, I'm going to start probably with Moore in Oregon.
Okay. So the categories, there's top of the class. There's only one school that is in the quarterback that's at the top of the class.
Can I pause you real quick?
Of course.
Press pause. So I'm assuming because of the way that it is structured that some of, like, I don't automatically assume waiting is hard is better than second time's the charm, but just because of the order that it's put
I
in.
understand.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. I just want to make sure we were looking. I'm going top to bottom.
I'm just reading.
In addition to the categories.
I'm just reading what the categories are. I didn't necessarily slot them.
Okay. Because I slotted them top to bottom in addition to the categories. Because I think that's,
so you re-rank them given.
No, I think he ranked them. Like, I think the categories are what they are, but I also think this is the order he views the quarterbacks.
See,
that's how I took it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, do you see how I could see it that way? Like, I think he thinks Aller's the first, and then the next tier is Williams, Sayan, and Underwood.
I see. I don't.
That's how I took it.
I don't think so. But we can process that. Okay. That's interesting.
Because I don't know why you do it top to bottom like this otherwise.
Yeah. You're going to give me pause.
Because that was my real pushback. Because the categories kind of are what they are.
So why is Wiley veterans worse than waiting is hard?
Because I don't think that he thinks much of Cadillac Manis.
No. See, but that's totally implied.
Right. But because there's nobody else in the category.
But why is waiting is hard?
Again, we're doing the
worse than
we're projecting based on lack of information.
Okay. All right. So top of the class is Penn State.
Yeah.
Drew Aller.
Which I don't think anybody's going to argue with.
Okay. Young pups. Washington, which is Williams. Ohio State, which is Sands. And Michigan, which is Underwood.
Yeah, we assume.
Is the next tier. But I don't get the sense that those are the next best group of quarterbacks.
That's why I push back.
See, I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know why you would do it this way otherwise.
Well, I have to ask him or her. Excuse me, or them.
If that's just the categories and not the actual ranking, I don't really have a problem with that.
I'm just looking at it for what it is.
Yeah.
Waiting is hard is Oregon. That would be more.
Yeah.
Which is third. So we're clearly talking about these in chronological order. The next is second times the charm, meaning year 2 for these guys as full-time starters, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Dylan and Nico.
And maybe first year didn't go quite as well as you would have hoped.
Again, I did not extrapolate, but I get the charm thing.
Yeah. Like second time's the charm.
Because I look at it like year 2, here we go.
I look at second time's the charm is, because if you say third time's the charm, you're like, the first 2 tries didn't go how I wanted them to.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm assuming there, but yeah.
And then, because if I'm looking at ranking the deal, I probably would put consistency and second time's a charm ahead of
the young pups.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too. That's why.
So that's why I don't think it's order.
I think it is, and I think he's just bad at it.
Ooh. Ravi here for not thinking well of people. Now that's
on brand.
That is very on brand for you. Okay.
A lot of times I assume the worst.
So consistency.
Yeah.
And this was my first pause for you.
Yeah, this one's dumb.
So strong takes.
Part of it's dumb.
Consistency. Illinois with Altmaier.
That one makes sense, although I think if this is an order, that's underslotting him. I could make the argument that Altmaier could be in the same category.
But I'm also not operating under the supposition that it's in order. There's no way this is in order.
I think it is.
No, Ravi, it's not.
You want me to DM him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will.
But
so I will say you can make the argument that Altmaier might be the only other person that has an argument to belong in the top of the class category.
That's fine.
just for what it's worth.
But again,
I think consistent is underselling.
I keep saying this
Altmaier
to you guys and gals, and I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or like the relevance,
Mhm.
but it comes up all the time. How you feel about Altmaier is exactly what I've been saying about how you feel Illinois was as a football team last year. If you think they're meddling, middle of the pack, not very good, there isn't going to be anything about this year that changes your opinion because it's the usual suspects. But if you think Illinois was good, then it changes how you feel about Altmaier. That's why I keep saying they're the one team with 18 starters that didn't wow you. They matter the most on how good you think they were.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay,
that's fair.
Okay. So, but also in this class is Mendoza.
His DMs aren't open, by the way.
Do you have to follow him?
Oh, maybe. I'll give it a shot. Yeah, Mendoza. So Mendoza doesn't make a ton of sense for me in the consistent category because it's a new quarterback in a new system with a new OC. So that doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Chillis in Michigan State is also in this category.
Super doesn't make sense to me. He did not have a good year.
Well, do you mean consistently? Consistently?
Yeah, maybe just mean consistently meh.
But that's not Altmaier.
No, it's not. So like that, this category does not make any sense. So
and
Maivia, yeah, or however you say it, yeah.
At SC, like not consistent yet.
No, I mean, first of all, he didn't play most of the year.
He probably should be in the second time's a charm thing.
Yeah.
So this is the one where I first I don't understand it.
Yeah, because I don't think.
But the more I do this, the more I definitely think it's not in order.
I don't think the last three inconsistent make sense in that category.
Can hold that thought because he is channeling his inner Ravi.
Yeah.
The last one, if Illinois is going to make a jump, because that's your big.
I think they made their jump last year.
But that goes into T-Mac's question about why we choose to be best case scenario with some and not with others. And we'll get to that.
I mean, I think I am best case scenario in Illinois. Like I think they hit their ceiling.
So veteran, fresh starts, new landing spot in Evanston. Okay, makes sense for Northwestern.
Yeah, that's fine.
Makes sense.
Although it would also make sense for Iowa.
But I like this category for Iowa because it says welcome to the big leagues. Because what's the thing that you've always said about Gronowski?
Yeah, it's a jump.
So I'm okay with not putting them in the other category because Iowa is the only school in that category.
Yeah.
What's in the box? Minnesota.
Yeah, we have no idea.
But I think I know what he means.
No, I mean, we have no idea what Minnesota is going to, like who.
But I think we do know who Brosmer is.
So I think I messed that up. I don't think Brosmer has another year.
It's not Brosmer. It's the scramble guy. Yeah.
I said Brosmer earlier.
And you got me. It's not. You're right. Because I keep saying they found their quarterback, they found their running back. Like I knew it wasn't Brosmer.
Yeah.
He's actually in training camp.
Yeah.
By the way. And
with the
I
Vikings,
think in Minnesota.
Yeah, I screwed that up earlier this week.
So I think he's thinking, can they play a certain way in the offense where it's not stacked against him? Because he is more of a runner than a thrower.
He is, but he's attempted 5 passes.
He's more of a runner than a thrower.
Yeah, but I'm like,
so I think what's in the box means, okay, literally what's in the box, but also what are we getting here?
Yeah. What stylistically?
Yeah. I'm okay with that there too.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Now this one is interesting. Wiley veterans, just Calic Manis and Rutgers.
Feels sarcastic to me because I don't really know what else to.
I think he's better than you think. He doesn't suck.
I think he does suck. I think Calic Manis is bad.
Okay. Used to be top recruits. Now this makes sense. I mean, that's everybody in Maryland.
Yeah.
Right. And in particular at the quarterback spot.
Arguably, and I think somebody in the chat said that, arguably you could put Oregon in that category too.
With more?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so if you could, I don't think it's in order, but used to be the starter, and obviously Purdue and Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm looking at the quarterbacks, and at least the perception, I don't think this is anywhere close to how you would rank your Big Ten incumbents.
It's certainly not how I would, which is part of the reason because I read it that way, that it was in order, that I immediately pushed back when you sent it to me. Because I looked at this as like, okay, I'm going top to bottom here.
Yeah, I don't think it's a top to bottom, even though when you see Maryland, Penn State, Wisconsin.
So that's part of it. Is like you see the bad teams at the bottom.
Yeah, but
teams that I perceive to have bad quarterback situations at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then I see all are at the top. I kind of like that lends to me being like.
But you wouldn't put Williams, Underwood, and Sands above.
I wouldn't put him above Altmaier. I wouldn't put him above Raiola, and I probably wouldn't even put him above Nico. Like we know more about Nico than we do those
Sands,
other guys,
or
more,
or Underwood.
Or more, or Williams even.
Although,
for that matter.
More is not totally novel.
No, but Nico was better in his 1 year as a starter than Moore was.
Yeah.
So I think I would take Dylan and Nico over the four guys above them if it was in order.
Yeah. So fellas, I'm
Altmaier
not giving the list credence in terms of being enamored by the rankings. It's the tiers, and do those tiers
the only tier that
impact how you look at the team's schedule.
The only tier that doesn't
that's the precursor to the exercise.
The only tier that doesn't really make sense to me is the consistent one. Altmaier is the only guy in that group that we know is consistent.
Because you're still lukewarm on Chillis.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
and you don't know. We've been through Mendoza. We've been through Mavea.
Yeah, I think Chillis is
Maeva. It's Maeva, I think.
I always say it a certain way. I don't know if that way's right.
Yeah,
I really don't.
This is one of the many times I need Greg Sharp because he nailed it.
Yeah, he would get you on the right path there. I mean, I
just say what he said.
I look at Chillis and I go, okay, sub 60 completion percentage, 2,400 yards, 13.
He was 13 to 11 too,
and
right?
11, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I like Dylan's talent better than Chillis's, so I look at Dylan a little differently, and I also look at that was Chillis's second year in major college football, not his first.
Shane, do you want to take a quick break before we knock out this first schedule? I want to do UCLA first.
You want so we've got Brian Edwards at 8:43.
You want to wait?
You want to just keep rolling? Let's just roll through it.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Are you cool with UCLA first?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Let's just UCLA first.
Because I think they're interesting. Now the season win total for UCLA right now currently is 5.5.
Mm-hmm. Which sounds right-ish, I think.
Does it?
I mean, they were 5-7 last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think we know what to expect from them this year. I mean, every time they come up, what do I say? I don't know what to do with UCLA.
Yeah, because I still think you're torn on.
I'm torn on Nico. Yeah. I'm torn on that whole situation because I think it's. And let's not pretend like this doesn't happen, right? And I know at the danger of talking about Scott Frost again, he admitted this happened to him.
You're a child.
Where he goes, hey, I sacrificed some culture to get guys in that I thought would help me win right away. Maybe Deshaun Foster's doing that with Nico.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I thought the culture was going in the right direction. That was the one thing I thought Deshaun Foster had going for him. And then, so I don't know what this Nico thing means. And I think that's
they're in the same win total range as Rutgers, Michigan State, Wisconsin.
I think that's
UCLA.
Huge wild card.
So UCLA to the over 5.5 is significant plus money. It is plus 140.
So they don't think that's happening.
Yes. And they do not think that that's happening.
So to that point, you've only got 6 returning starters, I believe.
Yep.
2 of them are on the offensive line. You got a couple wide receivers, and then you've got 2 defensive linemen that are coming back. Everything else is going to be new, right? So you're replacing a ton of guys. So I don't know how much of that culture that I think I was starting to like at the end of last year when they were playing well. I don't know how much of that.
I still think it matters.
It matters, but I don't know how much of it is already ingrained into these new guys, right? Or into these guys that'll be new starters. I don't really know.
Okay, so
I also don't know with the Nico situation.
How's that different, do you think, than with Nebraska and what you think about their culture?
I think Nebraska's culture is set, and I don't think they made any sacrifices. That's the big difference.
So for UCLA, this is for my T-Max of the world.
Yeah.
We talk best case scenario for one. And
for UCLA, I think
you just know more about Nebraska.
I do know more about Nebraska. I also think that there's an obvious situation here that feels like it could have compromised culture. And it was earlier than in Nebraska's process. Right? Like, the Nico thing has a shot to be a real problem.
I mean,
internally.
Childishly, I hope so, but no, I don't.
Now you don't?
No.
Just so I'm wrong?
No. Because I think everybody's cheering for his demise. And I still don't think it's his fault. So I don't really want UCLA to implode anymore.
I think he was more of an active participant than you're giving it credit for, but that's fine.
I know, but it's because you don't like people, and I typically do.
You're giving benefit of the doubt there on him not being more involved.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You want to go through a schedule real quick?
Yeah, because it's tough.
It is a tough schedule. You start off with Utah.
It's at home.
Everybody knows how I feel about Utah, though.
And they should be good.
Yeah, I'm going to take Utah there. I'm going to take Utah there.
Can I do something? I want to go back and see if I can find Utah's win projection. So Utah's season win projection is 7.5.
So they're expected to be better than UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's minus 130 to take over 7.5.
So they're leaning more towards 8 than 7.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Okay. Just give me context.
Just off the, I mean,
trying to handicap you with the facts.
I haven't deep dove on Utah, but I trust that deep dove. I haven't gone in depth yet on Utah.
Okay.
So
threw me there for a second.
Yeah, no, it sounded wrong.
Shane, do we have a call? Because I can't.
Yeah, I'll say the screen's messed.
No, we don't have a call.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Utah that one.
Okay. At UNLV.
I'm gonna call that a win.
I'm
not saying it's a gimme.
UNLV's got a chance to be pretty good.
I'm not saying it's a gimme. I am gonna give it a win.
Okay. New Mexico.
I'm gonna call it a win.
They go to Evanston.
I think that's a win. I got them at 3-1.
At home against Penn State.
Loss.
On the road, October 11th, no bye, at Michigan State.
I'm going to call that a loss.
You come back home a week later and get Maryland.
I think that's a win.
Back on the road in Bloomington.
I think I gave this to Indiana.
Yeah.
When we did this.
You
So
did.
I'm going to stay there.
Well, that's not real rocket science either, is it? You take Bloomington, you take
Indiana.
Yeah,
I think Indiana's a little bit better and it's at home for them.
Now, this is tricky because they're one of two California teams that will get Nebraska off of their bye.
Mm-hmm. And it's
so they have just
Pasadena.
come from they just come from Bloomington. They get a bye. Nebraska goes to Pasadena.
I think that's a loss.
Okay, taking Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
At Columbus,
loss.
Washington comes down the street.
I'm going to say that's a win.
And then you go down the street to Watts East and at SC.
I think USC is better than UCLA. I'm going to call that a loss.
Okay. So that's a 6-win team?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's about right. Okay. That's about how I view them.
6 wins. All right, do you want to take another double take because it's getting ready to get put in pen?
4, 5, 6. I've actually got them at 7 losses.
So 5 and 7?
Yeah, so I said
under the total.
Utah is a loss, Penn State, Michigan State, at Indiana, Nebraska, Ohio State. Yeah, I've got them at so I mean somewhere between 6 and 7.
Losses.
Yeah.
Just tell me wins.
Somewhere between 5 and 6 wins.
Above or below Rutgers?
What did I have Rutgers at yesterday?
5.
I think they're a little better than Rutgers.
Okay.
I think their schedule's a little tougher.
Shane, what do we have for the clock?
We still got some time.
All right.
About 5-6 minutes.
You want to go to SC or Minnesota?
Let's go to SC.
All right. Was this schedule tougher or easier than you thought?
I'll be honest, I didn't have like a presupposition on what I thought their schedule was.
I
was kind of going in blind.
It seems a little easier than I originally thought.
Okay. So first 2, easy here.
Missouri State, Georgia Southern.
2-0.
At West Lafayette.
I think Purdue's bad, so I'm going to call it a win.
Okay, then they get Michigan State at home.
I do think they're a little better than Michigan State. I'm going to call it a win.
Yeah, they're 4-0 out of the gates.
Yep. So that's a good way to start.
Like out of the gates, they're 4-0.
Yeah, it's a good way. That's quality.
Now, your first toughie is at Champaign.
I think that's a loss.
Yeah, and you gave Illinois the win.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're at home for Michigan.
I think that's a loss. I think Michigan's going to beat them up.
Okay, you're on the road at Notre Dame.
I think that's a loss.
On the road in Lincoln.
So this one's really tough because it's after the bye.
Well,
they really, really need it. I think Nebraska's good, though, and it's in Lincoln. I'm going to give that one to Nebraska.
okay. Back home, Northwestern.
That's a win.
You get Iowa to come to your place.
I think that's a win.
You remember that for Iowa.
I know.
On the road against Oregon.
That's a loss.
And you have them beating UCLA.
Yep. So it's 7 wins, I think.
I think it's 8.
Is it? UCLA.
They're 4-0 before going to Illinois. And then you have them losing 4 in a row.
Yeah, so it's 7.
7.
Yep. That's about what I thought of USC.
Is USC closer to 6 or closer to 8?
Probably 8.
4, 6, 8.
Closer to 8?
Yeah.
So they are above UCLA?
Yes.
Are they above or below Washington?
Above.
Oh, first team that's been jumped. So far you have Illinois, Indiana, USC, Washington, UCLA, Rutgers.
I view Indiana and USC very similarly.
Okay. And you both gave them closer to 8.
Yeah, 7 or 8, right in that neighborhood. I view them.
Does this sound right?
Yeah.
Illinois, Indiana, USC, Washington, UCLA. That's so far where we have the sandwich.
And then Rutgers.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds right.
All right. Any do-overs as you're looking at this on the fly?
Not so far. I feel
Illinois, Indiana, SC, Washington, UCLA.
Yeah, like I said, I think Indiana and USC are basically interchangeable. Like I would put them basically on the same line, but yeah.
So do you know what SC's win total is?
7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those teams that are jumbled up.
It's messy in the middle. It is messy. Like Lionel.
Is that the correct pronunciation?
I have no idea.
Lionel?
I think so.
I think it's Lionel.
I have no idea.
Like Thundercats.
Oh.
No, it's just oh, which is coincidentally not a bad word.
Thundercats ho.
Whoa, easy, man.
Well, that's what they say.
It
No
is.
E. No E. It's fine.
I don't think we write the E either.
I think technically you do.
No, that's the garden utensil. It's different.
Oh.
Changes dramatically. It's more like Santa.
That's what I was talking
more
about.
like Santa Claus.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I thought we were talking about
I
Thundercats.
can't believe I can't get you off of this yet.
Off of what?
I'm gonna let you look at it when it's done.
That's the. I mean, if we had not done the schedules, that's pretty close to the order I'd have put them in.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. So we got Iowa,
I don't feel like I've made
And-
any missteps yet.
Iowa, and Minnesota up next. We'll take a quick break and get to Brian Edwards and see why he continues to be a part of the No Betting Association.
I'm not saying I'm going to be right, but that's how I would have put them.
No, I listen. Consistency is fine.
Yeah, I think going through it like game by game has proved my perception of what they are to be in line. Accurate, I don't know, but it's in line with what I thought.
Yeah, because I'm sick of you hating on the Gophers, and I need new allegiance. You guys keep lumping me in with Iowa. I need to be
You're going to be the Golden Gopher honker.
so crass. Considering I'm half Iowegian. I don't even know why I said that. That's kind of dumb. Wish I
Well.
had never said that.
Just half though.
I think one of these two teams you may end up owing an apology if you don't sandbag. You want to do Iowa first or Minnesota?
Let's do Minnesota.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you said you want to do Minnesota. Let's do Minnesota.
Okay. Are you fully prepared?
As
Do
prepared as I'm going to be.
Do you now know who's playing quarterback for them?
As much as they do, yeah.
I think they know their quarterback.
Well,
You're stupid.
I think they think they know. I don't know.
Much as they do.
That was still relatively funny, though.
See, Shane's got me.
Go ahead. You'd be like the people on Oregon Trail that die. You hit your wagon at that if you want to. You'd be going off a cliff.
Somebody's getting dysentery.
That would be
It's a bad way to go.
horrible.
Just pooping yourself to death.
Oh,
It's a bad way to go.
yeah.
All right, you want Minnesota or Iowa?
Minnesota.
All right, Buffalo.
No, they're not asking me. We're asking you.
Oh, so you don't have to answer any questions?
No, because I know my order. My order is already vastly different. Were you
I was
using the
looking in the
cheat
chat.
code? Me and TK?
I mean, I saw you in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really a cheat code when it's for everybody and like public consumption. You know, everybody can read those, right?
You're too much, man.
I was just making sure. I'm trying to help you out.
You literally can't help yourself.
Oh, no. Is that me?
No, I think that's me.
Who is that? That's me.
Yes, that was
The
you.
oh no is me.
No, it's Ravi.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, that sounded like dickalicious.
I did.
What?
You actually said dick. You must be.
It's
on the edge.
it's simmering.
I just can tell like where you're at based on which words you substitute or spell out or.
God. Oh. All right.
All right, Minnesota.
Buffalo at home.
That's a win.
Northwestern State.
That's a win.
Okay, tricky one.
Yeah, this one is weird. This
Travel
one's
to
tough.
Cal. I don't know who's going to be on Cal's roster.
That's where I'm having a hard time, if I'm being honest with you.
Got to go to Cal.
I'm going to call that a win.
Now, this is a very timely break.
Yeah.
They come back from Berkeley. They get a week off. They get the Scarlet Knights, who will play in a very similar way to them.
Mhm.
And it is the 8th and Cal McManus homecoming.
Yeah, this is a total crapshoot for me. Like this is a real coin flip.
I'm struggling here.
Mhm.
I thought you didn't like Rutgers.
I also don't like Minnesota.
You sound like such a pretentious prick.
Well, like, okay, you
Try to
Hold on.
redo that tone.
You know what it'd be? I also don't like Minnesota. that
That's
much.
not how you said it. You
No,
said
you
it
said
like a
I thought you
gump.
meant redo it, like try and do it not
No.
pretentious.
Yeah. I also don't like Minnesota. like what are we? We at Harvard?
No, I'm sitting here because like we start this segment with you being like, you're gonna hold one of these teams in a college. You're hating on Minnesota,
Is that my voice?
and then
Was that my voice?
yes, just like mine is. Well, yeah, I don't like.
No, that is
Minnesota
how you
either.
said it though. You try to make me the angry black dude. I'm not.
So we start this segment with you saying I don't like Minnesota, and then when I don't like Minnesota, you're like, I thought you didn't like Rutgers.
Well, who do you like? Clearly isn't me. It's not Rutgers. It's not Minnesota.
I've been
Like,
pretty
your
clear.
dogs
It's
in-
Nebraska.
It's fine.
I find these two teams to be very much in the similar vein.
Mhm.
I'm going to give it to Minnesota because they're at home.
They are 4-0.
Yep.
And they are on the road at Cbus.
Yeah, that's going to be a loss.
Okay. They get Purdue at home.
That's a win.
They're 5-1.
Mhm.
They get Nebraska at their place.
That's a loss.
5-2. They're on the road at Iowa City.
That's a loss.
That's 5-3. They get the Spartans at home.
I'm going to call that a win.
That's 6-3. They're at Oregon.
Loss.
That is 6-4. They are at Northwestern.
Win.
That is 7-4. They get Wisconsin at home.
This is another one of those crapshoots for me.
They're 8-4.
I think that's a loss. I think they're losing to Wisconsin.
We just walked through Wisconsin's schedule. You called it a loss the other day.
No,
when
you're right. I call it that's a win. That's a win for that's I
You were
apologize.
gonna be a cocksucker on purpose.
No, I switched them. I switched them in my head.
So they're 8-4.
Yeah, that's 8-4.
Okay.
I gave them coin flips. I think they could lose to Michigan State. I think they could lose to Rutgers.
So you think they could lose to Michigan State at home because you love Chillis that you just walked us through so
No, because I think
But
they're
you
about
like
in the
Jonathan-
same range.
but
I think
you like
Rutgers.
Jonathan Smith.
I like Jonathan Smith. I think Rutgers, Minnesota, and Michigan State are all kind of in that same category. So I think they very easily could lose either one or both of those games.
Okay. So they have 8 wins.
And I think they're closer to 7 than they are to 8.
Okay. So for not laughs and giggles. So for my slot,
Mhm.
you have Illinois still,
Yeah, ahead.
Iowa.
Yep.
Or excuse me, Indiana.
Yep.
Now are they above or below SC?
I've got them below USC. 'Cause
Are
I
they
think
above or below Washington?
right around the same spot?
Above or below?
I'm going to call it above because I think they'll end up with a better record schedule-wise.
Okay. So far,
Mhm.
I'm just so you can keep track. Illinois, we're going sandwich teams.
Mhm.
So this is like the corned beef, the middle.
Yep.
Illinois, Indiana, USC, Minnesota, then Washington.
Yep.
You have those teams anywhere from 6 to 8 wins.
Yep.
Okay. Just mental note.
Yeah.
You want to flip over and go to
Let's do Iowa.
your Iowa Hawkeyes. How much time do we have left? Because you're going to
We got like 10 minutes. We're good. Got plenty of time.
He said we're good.
Plenty of time.
We're good. We're going to have to do one impromptu too.
You know I don't like Minnesota either, right?
Ooh. Oh, Dominion. Me like it.
Dominion.
We're going to do one on the fly.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the cheat code. It's Michigan.
Okay.
I wanted to do them because Nebraska plays them, but I felt like USC and UCLA would have been made for more riveting.
I think they're more interesting.
Yeah.
Although I do think Michigan's interesting. I really do.
We're going to have to do Michigan because they got to go in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Iowa, we've got.
You're starting with Albany.
Yeah, that's a win.
Okay, you're on the road ish in Ames.
I think that's a loss. I like Iowa State.
How many times Campbell has the one win?
I think so. I like Iowa State.
Okay, 1-1. I don't know about that.
All right.
No, it's not far fetched. Like it's legit.
I mean, that game's always a coin flip. Like it is.
But somehow Iowa wins 90% of them.
Seems like it, but I like Iowa State.
I need Shane. Can you
Iowa does win
multitask?
a lot of them.
Probably not.
I think Campbell only has one win.
I think you're right. I think he's only got the one win against.
And I think that would be in.
It just happened, right?
I think it'd be at Nebraska or at Iowa.
2-6.
2-6.
2022 and 2024.
Okay. Yeah, I knew last year.
Yeah.
I thought that was the first.
AI might be lying to me, but
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it's good. All right, so 1-1. UMass
win.
at Rutgers.
I'm gonna call that a win.
Yep, because you called it a win for Rutgers. Then you get Indiana at home.
I think I called that a win for Iowa against Indiana.
At Wisconsin.
I think I called that a win.
Penn State at home.
Loss.
Minnesota at home.
I just went Iowa here, so yeah.
Oregon at home.
Loss.
At USC.
I think that's a loss.
Michigan State at home.
I think that's a win.
Nebraska on the road.
That's a loss.
7-win Iowa team.
Sounds about right.
Did I do that right?
Let me count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 7 or 8.
Okay, are they closer to 7 or 6?
They're closer to 8 than they are 6.
4, 6, 8.
So it's 7 verging on 8, not 7 verging on 6.
Okay. So they have to be below SC and Minnesota-ish.
So Indiana, SC, Iowa, I have in that same range. So just below Illinois and then that next group.
All right. You're going to drive me crazy. So
All
we're
right.
going to go Illinois.
Yep.
IU.
Mhm.
Iowa or SC?
Iowa. Then SC.
Then Minnesota.
Mhm.
Then Washington.
Yep. Then Rutgers. Or is there somebody between
UCLA.
Rutgers? UCLA and then Rutgers. Yep.
UCLA. Then Rutgers. Do you want to save Nebraska so we don't have to shoot your shot with predictions and jump to Michigan?
Let's do Michigan. Yeah.
All right. Because this is, again, you're kind of looking at this now and you're like, yeah, this middle is not, it is hard to navigate, which was the whole point of this exercise.
Yeah, it's messy as all hell.
Right? Like we make all these crazy, oh, Nebraska's going to do this and Nebraska's going to do that. And I'm like, okay, I'm not giving you any sort of pushback yet, but sequentially it has to add up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just aren't going to, not everybody's going to be an 8-win team.
Yeah.
All right. Your Michigan Wolverines. What do we think?
New Mexico's a win.
Hang on. Let me make sure I keep track because This is going to be very important for notes later on.
Mhm.
All right, New Mexico. So they go on the road with Oklahoma.
And I don't think much of Oklahoma. I just don't.
Okay.
But that's going to be that's a tough spot. If you're starting a true freshman quarterback on the road,
You get Sharon Moore.
for that one, because it was very important that he'd be there for that. I struggle with the true freshman quarterback on the road in that spot.
But who's what do you like at Oklahoma, the quarterback spot? You've been bashing him all off season.
So, okay. In context of what other people think he is, yes, I'm bashing him. I think
You think he's just going to run around and scramble?
I think he's going to be better in that game than a true freshman on the road.
Young Ravi.
What's up?
First of all, Underwood may not start.
I'm assuming. I don't.
Now, we've been very critical of Mateer.
Yeah, I don't love Mateer.
You went through the old 2-game slot and not being good against good competition, and now all of a sudden you're back to waffling.
I'm waffling because I don't love Oklahoma. I also don't love Michigan in that spot, especially if they're starting a true freshman quarterback. I think this is a difficult game. I'm gonna give it to Michigan. I don't feel great. That's one of those where when we ask, am I closer to this or that, that's probably one of the games I'm looking at.
All right, so first suspension for Coach Moore.
They beat
Central Michigan.
Yep.
Okay, on the road in Lincoln.
I think Nebraska wins that game.
Okay, so 3-1. You get Wisconsin back at the house.
It's a win.
At SC.
I think go ahead.
You gave it to who did you give this to?
Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a win.
It's 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
At home against Washington.
That's a win.
6-1.
Yep.
At East Lansing.
So this is one that I'm struggling with a little bit. I don't love Michigan State, but I do really like Jonathan Smith. And I think Michigan might drop one that I'm not thinking about.
Gives yourself some wiggle room.
And so this is the one that makes sense to me. At Michigan State, rivalry game on the road, I'm going to give that to Michigan State.
Purdue?
Win.
Northwestern?
Win.
Maryland?
Win.
At Ohio State at home.
That's a loss.
Okay, so they're 9-3.
Yep, they're right there with Illinois.
So that's above Illinois. Are they closer to 10 or are they
They're closer to 9 than they are to 10.
Okay. So they're above Illinois because
I said Illinois is closer to 8 than so I think they're right. Illinois and Michigan are very close in my mind. But I'll give Michigan the slight edge.
Okay. So far, do you want me to give you a running record?
Michigan?
No, who's at the top? Because now I have the whole order outside of Nebraska.
So it's
Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State.
I'm going to go Penn State.
Okay.
Ohio State.
Okay.
Oregon.
Okay, so far, without Nebraska,
Mm-hmm.
Does this sound right? Penn State, Oregon State, Oregon.
Ohio State.
Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, SC, Minnesota, Washington, UCLA, Rutgers.
Yes.
Okay. That's where we're going to hold.
That sounds right for now.
Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, SC, Minnesota, Washington, UCLA, Rutgers.
Yeah.
I want you to remember something. I said in the very beginning, hey, when we going through these top 4 teams, do you know who wasn't in your top 4? Even 5?
Who?
Michigan.
Yeah, that's fine. I think Michigan's schedule lines up a little better.
It's a little better.
It's a little better. Yeah.
So Michigan and Illinois right now before we do Nebraska
in my top 5. Yeah, I think
they're in your top 4.
No, 5.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, both of them are in the top 5. Michigan gets a little bump from the schedule. Schedule's a little easier than I would have thought.
Is there maneuvering room for
who?
Nebraska?
Oh, I don't need to maneuver in for Nebraska.
You're feeling good.
They're right where I want them.
Feeling good.
They're right where I want them.
Is this how you played out? Is this how you thought it would play out?
Pretty close. Some of the middle is a little jumblier than based on schedules.
I love that word.
Jumblier. Based on the way the schedules were, it's got a little messier in the middle than I anticipated, but so that changed the order of some teams, but it's more or less what I thought.
This is going to be good.